Hi, welcome. I am so glad you're here. To all of you who have been coming, this is lovely to see you again. To all the new little followers and friends and grown-ups and pets, hi, welcome. I'm Miss Kate. Today is another day of Art Day with Miss Kate. Before I say any more, let me do some business. Down below is the description always. Tells you what materials we need. There's always a document. In the document is a list for the whole week of what you need each day and some extra fun facts and even some books I like about the topic or links or music or things you might want to look into. So always take a peek. And if you're having fun, like the video, subscribe. It'll give you more messages telling you there's a new video up. Or leave a comment. That way I can write you back and we can interact even though we're kind of like have the screen in the way. So anyway, guess what today is? Spencer?
This week is Space Week. Meow.
Woo! It is the start of Space Week. I love space. I love space. I love it so much that I, in my spare time, watch Cosmos on repeat with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He is my favorite astrophysicist. And if I'm not watching him, I'm watching Bill Nye, the science guy, because he's got some really cool stuff too. So, are you ready? Space Week, here we go. So the first thing, I was thinking, to get to outer space, you kind of have to be a human, but you need a special, you can't just be any human. Like, I can't just go plop out to outer space. You gotta be an astronaut. So I thought, let's talk today a little bit about astronauts. What are they? How do you become one? Maybe some fun facts. And our project will be an astronaut of some sort. So we'll start at the beginning. What does astronaut mean? Does anybody know? Well, astronaut comes from the Greek words astro and not. Astro means stars. That makes sense. And then not means sailor, like nautical. That word has to do with the seas. So an astronaut is essentially a star sailor. That's pretty cool, right? Some places don't call them astronauts. They call them cosmonauts. Very similar. Cosmo means universe. Not, what we say it was? Sailor. It's a universe sailor. I love it. So cool. So whether you're an astronaut or a cosmonaut, it's kind of the same thing, just a different name. So how do you become an astronaut? What does it take? Well, I've not been one, but I can give you a little bit of my knowledge of what it takes to become one. So it's a lot of school. A lot of training. You really want to be one. So that's the first step. Then after that, you start going through all these trainings and you start learning and you have to do different tests and you have to understand how to manage a rocket ship and what to do when you're on the space station and all the different things that could happen when you're not on Earth. One thing that you have to do in order to prepare to be an astronaut or cosmonaut is you have to go into like a simulation, kind of like a ride at the fair where you sometimes go on and your tummy feels funny. Well, this helps the astronauts know what it's like to not have gravity. That's a big word, gravity. Gravity is the force that holds us to the Earth. When you leave our atmosphere and you pop out into space, gravity doesn't exist. Nothing holds you down. You float all over and your hair stands up. You don't even cry because your tears have nothing to pull them out of your eyes. They kind of just well up. I'll post below some really cool astronaut videos that you can see this happening. But anyway, there's this simulator or ride, as I was saying, that they have to go on to help them understand what it feels like to have no gravity all the time. guess what they named it? The Vomit Comet. I wonder why. Kind of like a ride at the fair, I think a lot of them get sick on it because our bodies just aren't used to that anti-gravity effect. So that's one interesting thing about it. Another really cool thing is that they all have a special outfit to wear called a spacesuit. See, when we leave our atmosphere, we're not protected from the sun, which can be really hot. And then when the sun's not there, it gets really cold. Living on Earth, we have this amazing thing that covers the Earth and gives us the ability to have regulated temperatures and be protected from any flying space debris and asteroids and comets and stuff. In space, they don't. So you've got this special spacesuit to wear, and it's high tech and it's filled with all sorts of compartments and gadgets. And did you know, if you're in the spacesuit, you can't reach your face because there's a piece of glass? What happens if you get a nose itch? Well, someone did. And some inventor said, let's put a piece of that itchy side of Velcro inside your helmet. Then all you gotta do is rub your nose on it when it starts to itch. Who would have thought? So that's something about your spacesuit that you just scratch your nose here. Another neat thing about the spacesuit is how heavy it is. It weighs 280 pounds. That's pretty heavy. That's like a couple moms put together. Yeah. And that's not even with a human in it. It weighs that much because it's made of all these protective layers because of all the sun rays and any weird asteroidy kind of things that might fly by. They have to be protected. And they don't fly by slow, they fly by fast. So the spacesuit is really thick and filled with a lot of protective material. It's also white. It could have been any color, right? Well, they chose white because white helps reflect light. If they had worn black, black absorbs light and they would have got hot really fast. So they've created this white spacesuit that allows the light to reflect and prevent the astronauts from getting too hot when they're outside of the space station. So that got me thinking, what if we, for our project today, created our own spacesuits? Yeah, they gotta be white if you're actually going into space. We know why now. But what if we could jazz them up and we were spacesuit designers for our own astronaut spacesuit? Because we're gonna be astronauts today. So I think that is what we're gonna do. Why don't you go ahead and get your white paper, a pencil, black marker, crayons or colored pencils or markers, whatever you like to color with. And I'm gonna go get my table set up and I will see you in 2 snaps of a finger click. All right, my astronaut artist, here we go. I got my white paper. I'm gonna be drawing with a black marker. If you are kind of new to this or you forgot, I recommend drawing with a pencil. That way you can erase if you make a mistake. You're welcome to use a marker, but know that once it's on the paper, you can't take it back. So let's look at our project. We are going to design spacesuits. I've got 2 examples here that I made. This one I did on a smaller paper so you could see what it looks like without a border. And I put some warm colors with some cool color highlights popping through. This one I turned into a boy. And here I've got my Miss Kate spacesuit. This is the one I would be wearing. That's got my kind of cooler colors, and I've got Miss Kate on my tag. And I also created a border on this one. We're gonna go ahead and do one that has the border so you can see how that goes. If you don't want to do a border, you definitely don't have to. That's completely fine by me, but it kind of adds a little pizzazz and jazz. So let me move these out of the way. Got my paper. And we are going to be making what we call a portrait. A portrait, I'm sure you're familiar with because you get them every year in school. You get school portraits taken. It's a picture of you or a picture of someone. We'll be making self-portraits, meaning it's of us. And we are going to be in our spacesuits. A portrait can be where the person's looking straight at you. That would be a full frontal portrait. Or they could be turned to the side, and that would be a side portrait. So we're going to do the straight on in our spacesuits. Let me show you how to put an easy border on. If you have a ruler and you have a fairly large paper, you can just take your ruler, line it up with the edge of your paper, and use that as your guide to create the lines of your border. If you don't have a ruler, you can use a straight edge of any sort. So I've got this long straight edge, and I figure out how wide I want my border to be, and I just run my pencil or marker down the side of that. Go ahead now, if you have your paper and you want to put a border on, to find something that's a straight edge, if you don't have a ruler, and go ahead and add that. Sometimes I just use a book because it's right close. Or you can even, my pencil box is a little broken. You can even use the edge of a pencil or marker. That works too. Okay, so this is just about done. Let me put my top edge of my border on, and we'll start our portraits. So we got to get that outside spacesuit helmet done. We got to make sure we make a big enough hole that our head sees through. So somewhat in the middle of your paper, not the top, not the bottom, but sort of in the middle, we're going to put an oval-ish circle shape. So I'll draw first, and then you can kind of follow along. This is where our head is going to be peeking through. Okay? Now, let's put our head inside of there. If you are a girl, you can add a little bit of some longer hair on the sides, but it's only this little view. So what I'm going to do is draw the sides of my face, because part of it, my chin is getting cut off, and part of it, my head is up here. And I'll put some bangs kind of coming down the side. This would be hair. And I'll draw in my eyes. So you guys can go ahead and draw in your eyes. I'll put a little nose, and definitely, most definitely, a smile, because if I was in outer space, I would be floating on air, so happy and excited. Okay, are you guys good? Excellent. Now, let's go ahead and put the helmet of our spacesuit. So what we're gonna do is kind of curve around the opening that we made that we can see out of. Gonna go up, curve across, and then go down. Don't go fast, take your time. If yours gets a little more roundish, that's fine. If yours is a little more pointy, that's fine. As long as you try your best, your self-portrait and your spacesuit is just epically amazing, okay? Now we'll put a bottom edge for our spacesuit helmet. And we'll put two of these little control looking things. This is kind of like the buckle or the clasp that hooks our helmet onto our spacesuit so we don't go flying off into space. Now we'll add on the ridge right below. And in here, if you take a peek at my other one, here's where I put kind of some little control looking doodaddy type of things. So we can go ahead and add those in if you would like. I did like some circles. I did a rectangle, which is long, short, more circles, anything you feel that will kind of add to your spacesuit. Now you might be sitting there thinking, hey mate, Miss Kate, if I'm the designer of the spacesuit, can I put anything on there? Well, you know what? You absolutely could. Maybe you want to put just polka dots across it and not have those little doodads. Maybe you want to put jewels because it's a really fancy spacesuit. Maybe you want to put a special charm right in the middle that someone in your family gave you for safety when you go out to outer space. It's totally up to you. The last main step is to draw the edges where our shoulders would be. Did you get that? Great. So I'm gonna put in so it looks like I kind of have where my arms would be. Otherwise it looks just like a big blob. I'm gonna put on a name tag because all of the spacesuits have a little decal of sorts. Now you don't have to put your name in there. You can make up a name. You could just put astronaut. You could put some random numbers or letters. I'll put M for Miss and then Kate. Again, this is up to you. You could put Miss Kate, but then that would be me in your spacesuit. So you might want to put something different. And that's about it for our drawing. The rest is up to you. You are going to be the designer. You can put polka dots, you can put zigzags, you can give it an Army Navy fatigue outfit so it looks camouflaged in space. You could add candy all over it, or maybe you have a love of the beach and you're gonna put some ocean waves and a palm tree on it. That's up to you. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit more adding to here while we're kind of together still. I think I do love the beach and I live near it and I can't go to it right now. So I think I'm gonna add some ocean waves as a design onto my spacesuit. And then maybe I'll put like a palm tree on it. Again, you're the designer. Anything goes. It's up to you. It can be as realistic or as imaginary as you would like it to be. And I think on my helmet, I'm going to put clouds. Because why not? Clouds are fun. The last thing I'm going to ask you to do, besides color it in, is if you did put a border on, create a really cool border. Imagine this is like a picture frame, especially like if you get your pictures back from school and your parents put in a beautiful frame and they put it on the wall. What could you put for your picture frame? You could keep it simple and just make it look like it's got little studs on each corner. You could add stripes or polka dots into it. You can put some kind of pattern into the outside border we created and it turns it into a very attractive, very cute picture frame. So I'm going to put just this random design that popped in my head. And you do not have to color in the picture frame. You can if you want to. That's completely up to you. I think because I'm going to color all of this in, I'm going to leave the picture frame black and white. That way this stands out a little more. So, my astronaut artists, I am going to quickly flip the screen so you can see me and we can give a little send-off to each other. I would love to see you all finish these, and I'll put my examples on the pause screen in between here so you have a couple ideas to look at. My astronaut artists, I have had one blast of a time. You all are amazing. I can't say anything more. Well, I can, but I had such a good time. I love space, and I think you all can probably tell. Again, I left below in that document a ton of super amazing space resources. One really cool one that I think most of you will like, especially if you love reading, even if you don't, I would check it out, is the astronauts on the space station have made it possible to have them read books to us. So they're up there reading, and I believe they're filming it and posting it on YouTube. So I'll leave a direct link to that. It's so awesome. You see their hair all crazy and them floating around, as well as a few other of my favorite science-based links or outer space-based links. So anyway, go ahead, finish your amazing astronaut spacesuit portraits. I can't wait to see them. Send me pictures of them if you can. Email them, direct message me, find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm all over the place, except I'm not in outer space. And even Spencer will be able to take a peek at them too. It's so much fun when I get to see what you all have done on the other side. And have a great day. Tomorrow we will be working on rocket ships. I'm super excited about that. And it should be pretty simple. It's the basic materials. You'll need a piece of black paper as well as white. And if you have any tissue paper, that stuff that would come in a package, like a birthday package, red, yellow, orange, bring that. If not, it's okay. We can use regular paper. We'll figure it all out. Yeah, so I'm super excited. I'm gonna go get ready for that and maybe put some Cosmos on my TV because I saw a new episode came out. Have a great day. Get outside, get some fresh air, be kind, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.